Hey, what is up, guys? This is
What is up, everybody? Truthful's here again, and we pulled Androc The Glorious from a remnant shard. It's my first mythical that I ever pulled from a remnant shard.
Hey, what is up, guys? This is Cobb, and welcome.
Yeah, I gotta mute that. Didn't realize that was still on. Yeah, we try this again. What's up, everybody? Truthful's here again, and we pulled Androc The Glorious. He is the first mythical I've ever pulled from a remnant shard, and I'm just glad that it wasn't a dupe. His reviews, not that great, but I'm assuming a lot of those reviews came before his buff because he has been buffed about 8 months ago. And his kit, it seems like he would be like a 4.8, 4.9 in Hydra and Chimera, and at least 4.2 to 4.5 everywhere else, if not higher. But let's get into it. The first form, the A1, Prod's Bite. It attacks one enemy, then puts a increased defense, big version, on all allies for 1 turn. On the A1, it's not bad. The second A2, Radiant Claw, attacks all enemies, increase the duration of all allied buffs by 1 turn, then heals all allies by 4% of their max HP for every buff on them that had its duration increased. And if you get some other buffers mixed in with him, you can get up to like a 40% heal on top of everybody. So that's a chunky heal on top of increasing the duration of every buff on everybody. So good A2. Not the best thing I've ever seen. Decent though. I would give that probably a 7.5 out of 10 move. That A1, probably a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10. The A3, Rock Awareness Beer, places a 50% increased resistance buff, a 25% strengthen buff, and a 15% continuous heal on all allies for 2 turns. Puts an additional 15% continuous heal on all allies with less than half health for 2 turns. Then finally fills the turn meter of all allies by 15% on a 3-turn cooldown. That's a great skill. That's like a 9 out of 10 skill right there. Increased resistance is pretty hard to find. Strengthen is not necessarily that rare when you're talking about legendaries and mythicals, but it is a big version. And it comes with 3, if not 4 buffs on the same move. And then the continuous heal, amazing, especially when you see the passive and how this will pair with a champion like Senna Amberheart. Speaking of the passive, Knights of the Wild. Increase each ally's resistance by 10 per buff on all allies. So if everybody is buff capped, 10 buffs per person, and you're in Chimera or Hydra where you can have 5 or 6 people teams, that's 500 resistance on everybody based off of that passive alone. And not last but not least, critical hits inflicted by allies fill the turn meter of all other allies by 5% once per skill. Think of the continuous heal passive for Senna, but with critical hits. And if you pair them two, you're probably going to be doubling, if not more, the amount of turns that your team is able to take. And in a boss like Chimera, that is phenomenal because if you're going for damage, that's getting the most turns as you can because it's not your turn limit, it's the Chimera's turn limit that matters. I feel like this is going to be a top tier A+, if not S grade champ for Chimera. Now on to his second form. He gets a really cool mask. He looks like an expensive champion. And I don't mean like pay to win. I mean like he looks like he would be rich in real life. I like them claws on his gloves. I didn't notice that prior. Just getting a good look. Oh, look at that cape. The design on him is top tier. Okay, onto his kit. Guild Thor Assault attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense on all enemies for 1 turn. I wish that was higher than a 50-50, but it is what it is. You can't really expect too much out of an A1. That's probably a 6 out of 10 A1, like a C plus B minus, probably a B minus A1. Not the best, not the worst, a little bit better than average. The A2 on the second form, Palisade Breaker. It's an AoE, but it's a 50% decrease resistance, 25% weaken, and an enfeeble debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. And if the enemies are under 50% HP, the enfeeble cannot be removed. So essentially it's protected. Now, what I don't know is if a champion kind of like that Cardinal Epic, not Cardinal, Caroline, she's an epic that removes the duration of debuffs but doesn't actually cleanse them off. I don't know if that would reduce the duration of enfeeble, but that's far and few on who can do that. So I would say that it is what? Okay.
And it's on the Chimera. So it's still under warning for incurring.
Okay.
I tried calling. Here. Just in case you can't get the phone. Alright.
Sorry about that. The A3 Palace City Breaker attacks all enemies with a 50% decreased resistance debuff and a 25% weaken debuff and an enfeeble debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. If an enemy has 50% HP or less, the enfeeble debuff cannot be removed. The fuck?
I was trying to see here.
Oh,
Thanks.
no. If it squeals next to each other, putting an antenna is going to make that worse.
Here.
Are you done? Sorry about that. Let's try this for a third time. The A3 Palace City Breaker. It attacks all enemies with a 50% decreased resistance debuff, a 25% weaken, and an enfeeble debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. If the enemies have less than 50% HP, the enfeeble debuff cannot be removed. What I don't know about this is if there's certain champions who they don't directly cleanse debuffs, but they decrease the duration of debuffs. Like Caroline, she's an epic, the girl with the candles on her head. I don't know if that would affect the duration of the enfeeble debuff, but it cannot be directly cleansed. So probably not going to be an issue. It's probably pretty much, you could call it protected, but there may be a handful of champions that can reduce the duration, therefore kind of pseudo cleanse it off. Also decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 15%. So you got a decreased resistance, weaken, enfeeble, and a turn meter reduction all in the same skill on a 3-turn cooldown. Very nice. And where enfeeble is such a hard to find skill in the game, I would put that as a solid 8.5 out of 10 skill. The only thing really holding it back is enfeeble seems to be the only part of his kit that like directly correlates with arena, and he really seems like a PvE champion. And this skill almost seems like it would need to be a PvP champion for it to be like very useful. But whatever, it's unique, it's cool. I like it. Then finally, you have Roar of the Kittens. Kitherus, sorry. Attacks all enemies before attacking. Fully removes all buffs from all enemies and places a block buff debuff on all enemies without buffs for 2 turns. So as long as it fully strips everything off of whoever you're attacking, it puts a block buff on them. If the target is a boss, the damage inflicted is equal to 10% of their max HP. He's not going to hit harder than Newt. he's not going to hit harder than Wallmaster Atharion. But there's not a whole lot of AoE enemy max HP champions in the game. So he probably would fit into like the top 5 enemy max HP champions, especially considering it's AoE, just based off of that skill alone, which furthers me into believe that Chimera, Hydra specifically, is where this skill is meant to be used, because you're going to strip everything off, place up block buffs, and deal enemy max HP damage. Then finally, moving on to the passive, Lionheart. Increase each ally's accuracy by 10 for each buff on all enemies. Well, here again, this seems like it would be for PvP, because the point of Hydra is to try to keep all the buffs stripped off and keep them under a block buff. So, don't really know where this would be good outside of the arena, but the Enfeeble and that passive would be really good in the arena. And each critical and hit inflicted by allies decrease the turn meter of all enemies by 5%. Yet again, that seems like that would be more useful in the arena than anywhere. So it is weird. The first form seems like it would be mainly used in dungeon content. The first part of the second form seems like it would be predominantly in dungeon content. But then you get to that A3, part of the A2, and then the passive on the second form. And it's like pretty much PvP-based moves. So I'm a little bit mixed on where to use him, unless they're just trying to make him a jack of all trades, a master of none. But his turn meter manipulation is very masterful. And then he has a 35% defense in all battles aura. And his base stats, they're not the craziest thing I've ever seen, but they are really solid. On the first form, you got 20k, well, 20.6k on the HP, 1.6k on the defense, 110 speed, and just a flat out 50 resistance, which is really nice. And then when you go into the second form, you go up to almost 24,000 on the HP. You drop down to basically 1.4k on the defense, but you gain 5 more points of speed, which puts him at the fastest base speed of any champion in raid. Like 115 seems to be the cap on speed. And you lose 20 points of resistance, but you gain 20 points of accuracy. Now, for the masteries, we came down and got Unshakable for the extra resistance. If we wind up using his second form more, then we'll reset it and come down and get Eagle Eye. Or if he just winds up being a damage dealer, then we can try out the offense tree. But I'm thinking it's going to be either defense or support. We'll have to test out and see which one is the most useful. But all things considered, where he does so much mirror image, like whatever he does on the first form, he does the opposite on the second form. Excuse me. I kind of wanted to go a little bit on both, just till I got a taste of what he really did, and then we could actually come down and oscillate what the one that we think is the most useful. Anyways, let's try him out in a couple of arena fights, and then we'll go into live arena, then Chimera, and we're also going to try him out in a few dungeons just to see what happens. Also, we'll be able to fuse Pelops here in just like within the hour. So I'm very excited for that. I've been playing with him on this. I created a new account just so I could try him out last week, and he seems to be a very good champion. His shield reflects back on the Fire Knight's shield to bring it down. It's really good in the arena. The burn passive makes him really good, and Demon Lord or Hydra, Chimera, or even like Spider. He could solo Spider, especially in hard mode because of all the burns. Just an all-around solid champion. Oh, what's up, Expired? I didn't see your message. How's it going? Let's get these last couple of champions put on auto so we can be trying that out. We may have enough brews. I don't know, actually. We may have to level them up the old-fashioned way. Alrighty now. Do we have enough to use another one already? Awesome. What are we missing on getting that last one? It's one of these. I forget which one. Oh, gear enhancement. That's easy enough to do. We can sell some gear real quick. And what do we want to max out? Mercurial is always nice. Oh, nice. So we got a cheap one that time. Double roll into crit rate, double roll into defense. Not bad, not bad. I don't like the flat stat HP on that though. We're gonna have to quick craft and sell some gear real quick. I'll feel you there, man. It kind of becomes a slog after doing it for a while, for years on end. Curse City is great, man. The rewards you get from it, other than Grim Forest, Curse City is probably my favorite place to get like freebie rewards in the game. Okay, now we should have enough silver to do that. Go back down to material. I don't like that that's all spread out like that. But at least it double rolled into speed. That could be a good piece depending on where the rolls go. But I guess you could say that about any piece. Any piece could be good, depending on where the rolls go. On normal, it's not too bad as long as you can get through that first initial bottle rotation. But hard mode, it gets pretty hard once you get out of that intro area. And that top left corner area, even I struggle with it. I have to like swap gear around and stuff each season. But normal mode, most people can at least unlock Amius. It's not too bad. See, did that get us that last champion? Just about. So much accuracy plates. Alrighty. Throw him on up. We could have used that chicken just then. We need a small energy pack. Are there any small energy packs? Oh, very small. A little bit bigger than that. Oh, looks like that's what we're stuck with. We need just a little bit of energy to run them in the campaign. Gotta love them background battles. All right, let's oh hell, we're still in platinum. I was afraid that we would have got knocked out of it. Who's what or who's who? Those were the rares required to fuse the new fusion pellets. Oh, I thought you could do arena. What about lava arena? Well, at least you can do lava arena while that's going on. We'll bring him into lava arena and see how he pans out. Oh, Bommel. He's the first boss that you come across in normal if you go the bottom route. He's pretty rough just because them bombs will one shot you if you don't have like a means of reviving on death or block damage or some way to mitigate the damage from it. So it kind of becomes a race to just basically run down his health bar before he's able to get his bombs to blow up. Of course, he'd throw out the Marius and a 6-star Empress. Oh, Cometus and Ananias? That is scary. No, it doesn't. You can use block damage against it. It's this boss right here. Demitha. Yeah, if you have Demitha, you should be okay. damn fear got me on that one. I thought that was going to knock out Embers there. Ah, I was hoping his block damage passive was going to trigger. Are we able to do Chimera while there's background battles? We can. Trust Senna, wherever she may be. There she is. And Androc. I was wanting us to use the last piece of the fuser real quick. Suppose we need to do that first anyways. Oh, we completed the champion chase, like, all the way. Sweet. Oh, somehow we wound up with 5. Not sure how that happened. But, okay, not going to complain about it. Hmm. I didn't know that. Normally it's just, the 4 that you need. It's always so confusing looking for these champions. Oh, it won't let you do clan boss or Chimera while that's going on. That sucks. I guess back to Lava Arena while that's finishing out. Or can we do Cursed City? We can do Cursed City. No, we can't. Damn. I would say you're probably right. Oh. Yeah, dude, what can you do during a background battle? I mean, Lava Arena, I guess. Odd for him to throw out Quality as the first pick. Man, I gotta level up a champion to 60 or get some better gear on this account. I'm not able to do anything in the arena lately. I've lost just about every fight I've went into today on this new account. Yeah, let's bring Androc in here and see how he plays. Loyal Band Duchess. Okay. So let's try enfeebling everybody. We didn't enfeeble anybody. That's weird. I don't know what happened there. We used the wrong move. We're supposed to use the A2, not the A3. Duh. Hard Siffy. Bring in Nail for that. Because Siffy's going to put out a bunch of buffs. Probably not a very good matchup to bring Androc into, but I really want to test them out a little bit. We'll ban Nias, we'll deal with Armans. Worst comes to worst, though, I would say Gizrak can still handle it. Gizrak's just going to wipe them out before they even get a chance to do anything. So if we would have been lower on health, that would have gave everybody a little over 20k on the healing. It's not a bad heal. Yeah, he's very annoying. Lady Annabelle can solo him. Bolgoth can keep your team alive enough to fight him. There's a few ways to fight him. The burn got resisted. So annoying. See if we can take a storm meter away. Awesome. That's a very good idea. Yeah, you could probably get away with that. You could also use Maki the way you're talking about using him in the Scarab King because of the shield. Something I never thought about that, but yeah, you could probably get away with that. Yeah, this is so annoying trying to time the burnout to when I kill him. Six-star Mikage. That's interesting. I wonder if he's going to bring out Onryo. Onryo, Ninja, or Yumeko are the only three I could really see someone bringing into the arena. And I wouldn't really recommend bringing Ninja into the arena. At least not at this tier. Generally speaking, if it'll work in normal, all you really need to do to make it work in hard is just up your gear. At least you got you a plan on how to deal with those bosses, because them bosses, when I first started playing, I had to use Burgess to do my Scarab King, and it was hit or miss whether he would kill the boss before it would get to the turn count. And if it didn't get to the turn count, then it was literally a wasted like hour of my time. On my main free to play account, I use Loki a lot for those bosses because of his evade. He thought he was going to sneak that Marius in on me. That's wild to see Feraldi in two back-to-back Lava Arena fights. You never see him. And I mean, with good reason. He's with strong enough gear, he can do some damage, but he's not really, in my opinion, he's one of the worst mythicals. And yeah, I agree. Gearing is what makes or breaks an account. Dude, this is so ridiculous. I'm not doing that fight tonight. I'll come back to it another day when I can sit and manual it. I don't feel like sitting and manual in the Ice Spider tonight on that account. I'm surprised they didn't bring in Onryo or some type of Shadowkin to pair with Mikage. Let's see if we can enfeeble Empress over here. Yes, sir. Petrifying. Easy peasy. Referendum? The odd name. Are you able to do Hydra as it stands to get a bunch of like protection and the gear that comes from it? Also, how far are you into Grim Forest for like your material? What do you mean by food gear? Oh, he picked a Fabian. Yes, we'll throw out Embers so he can't have a Fabian and Embers. I would definitely try because some of your best gear is going to come from them two places. Oh, good. Yeah, that's where I would recommend getting your good gear from. Grim Forest, specifically for material, and Hydra, you're going to get a lot of protection gear. And do your clan sieges to get Feral. I've got more mythical and legendary Feral gear than I have of any other gear source. Since the event dungeon is shut down, there you can't really farm pinpoint, or I would recommend that. But such, you already ate. It's not dinner time. A little nervous here. He shouldn't be able to bond my sick friend though, and as long as the sick friend can make it out, we can revive everyone else. Um, is your account the one that had Eric's on it? I haven't been able to take a turn other than Safer and Revive and everybody. This whole fight. That's crazy. Yeah, there's nothing I can do there. Too much crowd control. If you had physics leveled up a little bit, you can use her as your provoke, but you don't. Uh, Still to help keep you alive, definitely. Newt for enemy max HP damage. You could bring in Artak for burns. Uh, the champions that you have that would be good for Hydra, you don't really have leveled up. But Soda Wukong brings pretty much constant block buffs. Newt for damage. Ninja can work for damage. Artak for burns. Syl for heals. Physics for provoke. Alice could do good for damage. Lady Marie can work well, especially on a decapitated head. Maki is good overall as a support champion with secondary damage. But most of who I would see being used for Hydra, you have still a level 50. Everybody just going to revive here, but whatever. Oh, we got petrified. How did we lose against that team? Are my auto battles done? Yes, they are. Okay. Oh, they're not. We need just a handful of more fights. Like one or two. Yeah, I looked at it. Like I was saying, most of your good Hydra champions outside of Maki and Ninja are still at level 50. Hmm. Let's see if we're gonna have to take this guy up to 50 or not. Or sorry, if we're gonna have to run him in there or not. We might have enough Bruce to mix and match. I don't know. Do just a couple more 10 pulls and we should be able. I'm so excited to fuse this champion. Like I said, I've been testing him out on my free to play and I see so much potential in him.
Welcome to this. Oh, it's time. The big man has officially arrived. Let's go ahead and build him. Well, that is right after we do this. And this, which I always hate doing, but here we go. Spend all these bloody resources outside of CVC. I hate it, man. And this. And then, of course, the worst one of them all. Well, fine. And this. Alright, woo! Let's build a badass Pelops the Victor. Man, hey, before we do, if you're looking to create a new raid account, use my new beginner anniversary promo link that's down below this video at the top of the description box to get that done right now. Click on that link down below and use that link to create your new raid account. And for all the free stuff you see on screen right now, including Ezio's your Login Reward Legendary Champion, and actually Pelops the Victor, like literally the champion we're covering in this video, the anniversary fusion that you can get for free on day 1 of a new raid account by entering beginner code RAID7. It's ridiculous that you can get this champion for free on day 1 of a new raid account, but there you do go, man. Let's have this. So what's Pelops all about? First of all, man, he's an HP based champion, right? That's very important to note because all of his skills are going to deal damage based on HP. Okay, so attack percent and stuff like that is going to do nothing for him. Makes the step priority pretty obvious. His A1 is an attack one enemy 100% chance of placing decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. His
Okay,
A2
so we're
is a
gonna
3-turn
need
cooldown
6
single
big
target
potions.
hit that ignores 50% of the target's defense if the target is under HP
And I'm
burn
gonna have to
debuff. And the
use
damage inflicted by
12,
the skill
so
increases by 10% for every turn
we're good
remaining
on the
any
magic. I'm gonna have
debuffs
to
on
grind
this
out a
champion
couple of
and
the
target. Not
white
increased
ones, though.
damage per debuff, increased damage per turn remaining on every debuff. Meaning stacking this thing up to 200% in the likes of Hydra, for example, or even like Demon Lord Clan Boss, not actually that difficult, which is insane. Let's see how hard this thing can hit. If damage inflicted by this A2 is less than 50% of the target's max HP, steal all buffs from the target and place a stun on them for a couple of turns. Very, very good. The A3 is a 3-turn cooldown, increased attack buff, and magma shield buff on all allies for 2 turns. Magma shield is equal to 30% of Pelops' max HP and also places a taunt buff on Pelops as well. The passive here is insane. Decrease the damage all allies receive by 20% while this champion is not under a decreased defense debuff, which is like always. So very, very good. And on his passive, whenever an enemy attacks, Pelops has a 100% chance of placing a burn debuff on the enemy for 2 turns, which is ridiculous. And whenever an enemy attacks Pelops, he's also got a 50% chance of placing a Petri debuff on that enemy for 2 turns. For 1 turn, actually. 2 turns would be ridiculous. Your step priorities on a Pelops the Victor are going to be, in my opinion, accuracy, as you do require accuracy to land his HP burn debuffs, and so as much accuracy as you need. Then I would go crit rate, crit damage, and then as much HP percent as you can possibly get your hands on. Speed is still going to be pretty decent on Pelops, given that he is a buff champion, and so having decent uptime on these buffs is fine. Try not to build like a 150 or 140 speed Pelops, right? Still try and build them relatively fast. That said, some of the better sets that you can build a Pelops in are going to include Perception Gear, just getting that accuracy and that speed sorted, and maybe like 2 pieces of Perception and then 4 pieces of Lethal, or Savage Gear is going to work just fine as well if you don't have much Lethal. You can also use a couple pieces of Feral Gear as stand-in for your Perception pieces as well. It's quite malleable, right? The most important thing with Pelops really is just getting his stat priorities right. And so the build that we're going to go ahead and throw on Pelops is one that I prepared ahead of time a little bit right here. And it is going to be a little bit of a mega mix of gear, using Lethal Gear as well as Perception Gear, and really just focusing on high HP percentage and crit damage, that kind of thing. It's a very, very well balanced build. I'm not trying to build him as like some kind of mischief tank for Hydra or something like specialist. This is just a very, very balanced Pelops build that we're using right now. So HP percentage on the chest. We are going for the crit damage on the gloves. Boots of speed, of course. We did go for accuracy on the banner, and I was able to work a couple pieces of Slayer gear into... Whoops. A couple pieces of Slayer gear. What the hell? Why is that disappearing, dude? Okay, there we go, man. My god, the game's trolling me, man. A couple of pieces of Slayer gear on his accessories just to get the extra crit damage from this, and a Feral Ring to help make up some of the accuracy. As for the relic, honestly, I'm just thinking Malefic Talon. It doesn't need to be anything too crazy for this. Malefic Talon taking up just a few ranks gives crit damage and HP as its flat stats, and so I think that's totally fine. We don't need to put anything too mental on our Pelops just yet. We don't even have a soul on this guy. I'm not going to go put like one of my best relics on the guy. That just wouldn't make any sense. And as for masteries, we're going to go a little bit something like this, finishing up with a double spend in the support tree. 1 Master Hexer for a chance to extend the duration of the HP bend debuffs and the decreased attack debuffs that we are applying on our Pelops right here, as well as lasting gifts as well, because he's not just a powerful debuffer, but he's also a powerful buffer as well with those magma shields, so a 30% chance to extend the duration of those increased attack buffs and magma shield buffs cast by Pelops by 110 as well. Again, the goal here is quite a generic build that's going to work into many, many different areas of the game, and I think that we've pulled this off. And we'll actually get into the build that I would recommend running into Hydra instead if you're going to be using Pelops in your Hydra team. We'll get into that, well, in just a bit. For now, we're going to go throw Pelops in at the deep end, quite literally against Hard Ice Golem. It's an area of the game where you should do pretty well, right? Big old magma shields, survivability, able to place HP burn on his passive skill, decent single target smacks that I'm hoping his AI isn't stupid, and his attacks on this A2 skill are going to go into the boss's minions and not the boss, but HP burn is of course great against Hard Golem. Let's see how he does. I was a little bit nervous that he's going to do absolutely trash, man. You know, like when you first complete a new fusion for the first time, I don't know, man. I'm always worried, like, am I about to be disappointed here? Is this going to absolutely suck? I'm assuming he's going to open it with his magma shield straight away. There it is. Big old magma shield comes out, because we built him with a lot of HP percent on his rings and stuff like that. We've really aimed for HP percentage substats. The magma shield is a pretty decent size. His A2 is about to come out in a second, but it is against a oh my god, 250k. That's pretty good. That's pretty damn good. That was against a frozen enemy, by the way. That's so, like, frozen enemies inside of Raid, they take way less damage. Is it like 50 or 60% less damage or something? Frozen targets, you know? So the fact that he's still 250k there against a frozen enemy is quite reassuring. And here we go against the Golem itself. All right. So his A2 skill there just hit for like 90,000 or something against the boss's minion, which wasn't the biggest hit in the world. It only had like 3 or 4 debuffs at the time, so it's like the damage of his A2 seems exceptionally dependent on how many debuffs you've actually got on the target that you're attacking into, man. The boss is extremely bold of debuffs right now, which is a bit worrying, but there goes the big old magma shield. Hopefully we can trigger the boss's counterattack while the magma shield is up, and we get to see just how much damage this can actually do on like a retaliation hit, you know? That might trigger it right there. Up. Okay. Oh, huge counter smack from the boss. So can bosses just not take damage from magma shield? This is the first champion I've ever built that actually uses magma shield in like a PvE setting, so I'm just not sure. Maybe it's the case that bosses just don't take damage from magma shield, but definitely feels like the Golem didn't take any damage at all there. So the magma shield is effectively just another form of shield then against this boss. Yeah, it takes no damage at all from the magma shield, which is important to know, I guess. It's going to be the real test as well, just to see how much... Man, we just survived a huge smack from the boss there, by the way. An absolutely enormous smack from the boss. It had both of its minions still alive. How does the damage compare to the ninja? Okay, so almost unsurprisingly, the ninja is actually doing a hell of a lot more damage than the Pelops, especially because the magma shield does not work against the boss, which let me just double check. When damage is dealt to a magma shield, it is first applied to the magma shield, then an equal amount of damage is also dealt back to the attacker, unless its name is Ice Golem. I feel like an idiot right now, but I have absolutely no idea why the Ice Golem wasn't taking damage from attacking into the magma shield just now. And so moving on, I still have no idea. I just did a little bit of research. I still have no clue why the magma shield wasn't doing damage to the golem. Whatever, dude, doesn't matter. We're gonna go ahead and put Pelops in our best, very best HP based Nuka gear on the entire account, right? It's not going to get better than this, right? Obviously, he doesn't have a soul on him yet. Hopefully, there's like some kind of Titan event coming up or something for Pelops' soul. That'd be great. I've kind of planned my pulls and resource and stuff around that on the main account at least. And now to see just how hard this son of a gun can hit in just a ridiculously perfectly built team to make this Pelops hit hard. That's all this team is, right? We're running Knock the Paralyzer for an HP aura in dungeons. Okay, 35%, so pretty bloody strong, and that's going to help scale up the Pelops' damage. He's also going to land a lot of poisons as well, which, again, just the more debuffs and debuff duration you've got in enemies, the better we're going to do. We've got increased crit damage coming in from Archmage Helmet. We're going to have weak and decreased defense coming in from Lydia, Leech and decreased speed from Nekmothar. So just stacking a lot of debuffs on this team, just trying to land as many debuffs as humanly possible, as many unique debuffs as humanly possible to boost up the damage of that A2. So let's go ahead, man, and just absolutely send this here, stacking up all kinds of debuff duration over here. We're going to get off the sleeps and the poisons coming in from the nerd. We can then go ahead and blah 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 here. Increased crit rate comes up. We're going to apply a couple more debuffs here as well. Let's go ahead and put it right here from the, okay, that's a bit, it's just 10 debuffs. We've got like every debuff in the world up against this poor little Taurus right here. Let's see just how hard this A2 can hit. This should be a full 200% damage increase. Let's have this Pelops, man. 500,000. Honestly, pretty good. Pretty good. Not bad, right? For an HP-based Nuka, that's pretty bloody solid. I expected like 800k, I'm not gonna lie. That, for me, is what I'd say, in the context of, you know, Pelops being Pelops and expecting a little bit more, I'd say it's fine. It's fine. It's nice to know that he can smack and hit hard against bosses, but it's fine. It's not insane, right? It's not absolutely mind-blowing, given the context of the gear that he's in as well. You know, I kind of feel like he should be hitting a little bit harder with that. Now, all of this sort of leads me to believe that maybe Pelops' best role on most people's accounts is either going to be a Demon Lord clan boss debuffer, because he...
Okay, guys, it's time. Bum 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 bum. Bum bum bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum bum bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum bum bum. Bum bum. We have Pelops, the victor. Just in case anyone doesn't know, let's do a quick run through of the kit. Triumphant Blow, attacks one enemy, has a 100% chance win book, 75 on book to put in a big version decrease attack for 2 turns. This debuff cannot be resisted or blocked if the target is under an HP burden debuff. The A2, Gorgo's Bane, attacks one enemy, will ignore half the target's defense if the target is under a burn. The damage inflicted by the skill increases by 10% for every turn remaining on any debuffs of this champion and on the target, stacks up to 200%. If the damage inflicted by the skill is less than half of the target's max HP, steals all the buffs from the target and places a stun debuff for 2 turns. These effects cannot be resisted if the target's under a burn. So if they're under a burn, he ignores half their defense, and the damage increases 10% for every turn on every buff. And if they're not under a burn, it's just a standard hit. But if he deals less than half of their max HP, it steals all buffs from the target, keyword steals, and then stuns them for 2 turns. So a 2-turn stun is nice. 9-minute run on Dragon 20. Wow. A3, Victor's Bounty. Active effect, put the 50% increased attack in a magma shield on all allies for 2 turns. Value of the magma shield is equal to 30% of the champion's max HP. Then places a taunt on the champion for 2 turns. What I would like to make note of, if you can get his HP up to over 100k, that means if you're in arena and somebody AoE hits you, that can reflect up to 120,000 damage back on the attacker. very, very rarely will you come across somebody with over 120k HP. So you're pretty much guaranteed to make whoever attacks you kill themselves in the process, as long as you have him with quite a bit of HP. And then passively decrease the damage all allies receive by 20% while the champion is not under decreased defense. Passive. This champion is immune to stun, burn, and petrification. Whenever an enemy attacks the champion, 100% chance of placing a burn on that enemy for 2 turns. The chance decreases to 50-50 if the champion is under decreased defense. Occurs once per enemy skill. Whenever an enemy attacks the champion, also adds a 50% chance of placing petrification on that enemy for 1 turn. The chance decreases to 25 if they're under a decreased defense. Occurs once per skill. But there is no cooldown, so it's just one after another. If someone attacks you, 100% chance they're going to get burnt, and a 50-50 chance of them getting petrified, or if you're under a decreased defense, it is 50-50 on a burn, and a 25% chance on petrification. Either way, that's better than our bias or Mythrala odds on the petrification, so that's pretty crazy. Ally resistance in all battles by 60 for the aura. And let's look at the reviews. 4.8 in Demon Lord, 4.7 in the arena, 4.7 Chimera, 4.7. Dude, that's not right. The Fire Knight should be a 5 out of 10. Because when Fire Knight attacks your party, it's automatically knocking 5 points off of the shield, no matter what else your team is doing. And his base stats are not great. They're not bad by any means, but he is kind of slow. That's really his main downfall on his base stats, because he's pretty slow. But he does have an extra 30 points of resistance, which is nice. And his defense and HP is not bad either.
He brings 100% land on his decreased attack debuff, which is incredibly useful into Demon Lord. He's also going to place HP bans against the boss, help your team's survivability with the magma shields. Hopefully he can reflect some damage against Demon Lord. I'm still hopeful. Can magma shield just not deal damage to bosses, or just like a hard ice golem thing or something? I don't know. I'm learning in real time. I also want to see what kind of damage numbers he can deal with the A2 over the course of a longer fight when he's pitted up against like a ninja and a knocked in a team like this, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and throw this team in. This is Ultra Nightmare Demon Lord. And so, and he's also weak hitting into this, by the way. It's magic affinity, which is really, really sad and really, really annoying, but whatever, man. It's all we can go up against. So we're going to go ahead and stack up a whole bunch of debuffs against the nerd. Here we go. He's going to get off his first round of magma shields. Is this going to do any damage to the boss when it attacks in? So why did that do damage to the boss? So Magma Shield does damage against Demon Lord, but not against Hard Golem. There must be something in Hard Ice Golem, like in the fine print, that says that it just can't take, like, reflect damage of any kind or something. I don't know, man. Either way, Pelops is about to come in just now with his A2. A lot of debuffs up on the boss. He smacks in for, again, 500,000. You know, it's quite solid. It's quite solid. Again, I do feel like the main tool that he's really bringing to the fight, to be honest, is the survivability tools, right? Is the decreased attack, which he's about to land against the Demon Lord just now. Bam! There it is. Decreased attack debuff goes up, and then it's the magma shields, and it's keeping your team alive and just being very, very annoying to kill. And I think that the taunt buff comes in bigly here as well. I've got to say, I'm very, very, very curious to try him out in a high resistance Hydra build, which we're going to try out right after this, just where we see where like the damage numbers fall after this key. But I want to try him out in like a high resistance Hydra build him as a mischief tank, given that he's bringing that taunt buff. You know, protecting the magma shields on everybody else. I think he brings a lot of survivability. He's going to spread a lot of HP bends across all the Hydra heads as well. I think he might actually flourish there quite nicely. So, yeah. But now I'm going to go ahead and just skip ahead to like, well, let's just see how long we can live. How about that? Oh, and by the way, I don't expect his damage numbers to hold a candle at all to the ninjas, really, now that I think about it. Given that the ninja is placing a lot more HP burns than he ever will. And so he's kind of, like, the ninja's kind of overwriting and activating the Pelops' HP burn debuffs. And so he's not really getting any HP damage or HP burn damage off at all against the boss here. So, yeah. Still, comparing his damage to Noct the Paralyzer and Noct's mass poisons, you know, might be more of a fair comparison. Oh, and I just remembered as well, Pelops actually has a passive that makes him immune to stuns, which is also amazing for Demon Lord. Like, the Demon Lord just used its A1 Crushing Force against the Pelops, and he's just immune to the stun. which is really, really good as well, given that he's a taunt buffer also, you know. He's going to tank that every time in your Demon Lord team, and so this is making me really, really excited for building Pelos on my free-to-play account. I'm not going to lie, man, because I really, really need something to sort of like replace and upgrade my Venom Mage in my Demon Lord team. I don't have an HP burner built yet, so my free-to-play account, he's going to be awesome. I'm going to be finishing the fusion for him a little bit later on tonight on the free-to-play account, so that's great. My god, dude. We might actually be on track to one key Ultra Nightmare Demon Lord with this team. But I spent no time at all actually like planning how to build this team properly or whatever. I kind of threw it together a little bit. Like, yeah, we bring a lot of important debuffs and stuff and powerful buffs to bring into Demon Lord, but I didn't put that much thought into this. If he's able to pull this off unawakened, what can he do with the soul? He is contributing a hell of a lot to the survival of the team as well with these shields, dude. Yeah, and then he weak hit a couple times in a row with the Zeo 1, so didn't place the decreased attack. Why both Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare Demon Lord Clan Boss having to be Magic Affinity today? Today of all days when I want to shoot this video, man. Anyways, the Pelops actually, oh my god, he like doubled the Noct's damage. Noct is a good poisoner too. Now, Noct, of course, did like a lot of healing and a lot of ally protect and stuff like that, but still, Pelops mitigating a crap load of damage. And honestly, if it wasn't Magic Affinity Demon Lord, he wouldn't have weak hit with Zaya 1, and we would actually have decreased attack up time. We just dropped the buff for like four clan boss turns or something, and so paid the price and just died horribly. But that's it. That's what's going to happen, right, if your decreased attack falls off. But still, very, very impressive damage against Ultra Nightmare Demon Lord into a terrible affinity, like terrible matchup for the Pelops there, man. So far, I would say, you know what, man, pretty good into stuff like Dragon, pretty good into Ice Golem's Peak, especially if he's like your only HP burn option on your account.
Sorry, they're calling for major storms in my area. I gotta listen to this.
Just driving around town, you just notice, hey, nothing's out just yet. Although I think this week we've started to see a little bit more.
Yeah, starting to see the pear trees in the Atlanta area really pop, some cherry trees as well. That means the pollen is up.
Are you breathing easy now?
It's just the watery eyes and nose that just really is annoying. It's really annoying. And that's because when you have the dry, windy weather, which we had.
And this is where our Torcon values kind of, go anywhere from 2 to 5. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of the biggest bullseyes here, whether you're down towards Montgomery or, just west of Apalachicola, kind of west of Tallahassee in the Panhandle of Florida. Valdosta right there, kind of southwest of Georgia on I-75. So you're kind of within that vicinity of a 4 and a 5. Some of these areas that we're tracking are definitely vulnerable to additional spin-ups. This after we just had some spin-ups with our last severe system that moved through the south. So this has got big temperature contrasts. Yet again, just like the last system, powerful boundary that's going to be a strong lifting mechanism for storms all the way up in the Ohio Valley, stretching all the way down here into the south and basically connecting to impact every community in between. The strong winds are going to keep that thing moving, though. So notice it does not linger even for half a day. We're talking maybe a 4-hour window here of intense precipitation, and then it pushes out, which is great because it's in and out. But the reason why it's going that fast is because the winds are cruising. But here's the main line coming through tonight, 8, 9, 10 o'clock. I mentioned through the overnight hours, we will be tracking it overnight here on the Weather Channel. Make sure to keep it here for alerts.
No, they might have another event going on, but I don't think there'll be many more events to pull many from him. Like, you might be able to get 1 or 2 more, but I'd say that's probably it. I do feel like he's a great champion, but well, you can always start a mini account and have him on in. I will say, this is one of the cheaper fusions they've done. Normally, there's like 3 or 4 dungeon divers and like 3 champion chases, and there was like 1 or 2 champion chases and like a hero event type of thing. And 2 dungeon divers and 2 or 3 gear enhancements, but it wasn't like it felt like it wasn't as strenuous as a lot of the fusions in the past. So Deck of Fates can be good if you're able to pin your chest rarities. It makes them a lot better because then you can, as long as you can get 8 to 10 pulls, you can pretty much guarantee at least one like epic tier chest, which is normally got either some mythical relic mats or like a legendary book or an immortal soulstone, something really good in it. I haven't seen what's in this one. Pretty sure Nubraid's had a video over it though. Let's see what's in it.
Hello everyone, Nubkex here. Welcome back to Nubraids, and in today's video...
Not that. There we go.
Hello everyone, Nubkex here. Welcome back to not too many attack nuker cards. I think that makes it decent things. This 2x 6 stars for Eternals is a good event, just full stop. It's probably the most impactful, albeit the most expensive, both in terms of your in-game resources and if you want to buy any of your real-life money. Super expensive, but yeah, it's very good. So as I said...
If you just finished Demon Lord, I would recommend going for Chimera so you could get Empress. If you do Chimera each week, even if it's just normal difficulty, within a few months you'll have Empress. And Mithrala is good to have also. You get her from Hydra. And Grim Forest. Grim Forest, you kind of need a spread of champions, but if you've got 20, 30 epics, it's pretty doable. Chimera, you just need like a solid team of like 5. Same with Hydra, you need a solid team of 6. But those areas is what I would focus on next. And being able to farm out your Phantom Shogun and Sand Devil so you can ascend your gear. Really all in the game. Just what goal, what are you looking to get next? I would recommend Empress from Chimera. But I don't really know what your goal is. And if you're just wanting to do a dungeon, you can't go wrong with Dragon because you get your speed gear from there. But also Fire Knight if you have the champions to do Fire Knight because you'll get your Savage gear. And Spider is where you're going to get all your your accessories, like your ring, amulet, and banner.
I've got about 20 Eternals saved up. I've been saving for ages. I am probably going to pull all of them for this event and just try to get some good souls. And by the way, I've got a good start. I've got like almost 50 Immortals. and almost 100 mortals. So I'm in a decent spot should there be soul stones required for like a guaranteed event for Edward or something. So there you are. Now, what is in the actual deck though that is overlapping this? Well, it's a bit shit is my thoughts. You get points for summoning souls from soul stones.
Well, that's not good. And Norman, according to Nubs, the new deck of Fate's not going to be very good.
That's going to be the bulk of them. You will get some from gear hunters or dungeon divers as well, getting artifacts and accessories. We now have 3 different ways that they've referred to this thing to make it extra confusing. But yeah, it's basically what is now called gear hunters. So there it is. And you will get some stuff. So number 1, yeah, there's going to be fate chests. Now, one good news is you will be able to pin cards. I think that makes it decent. So if you're completing lots of this deck, I mean, certainly you just pin the best chest that you come upon.
Hello?
And then try to get the best chest, and those chests typically have some decent stuff, and you'll be guaranteed to eventually get them. It can tempt you into pulling more soul stones than you should, but seeing as there's no boost for other types of soul stones, it's like just pull your Eternals, do some gear hunters, and open a chest maybe, and that might be it. But pinning chest is good. The cards themselves, there's going to be 300 rare celestial crystals. There's going to be 200 epic ones under 8 blue cards. 150 legendary ones under 6.
I was about to get off my
and 50
stream.
mythical ones
Is the
under
bed cleared
2
off?
epics. So, yeah, look, the way I look at it, this is the nub opinion.
Alright.
300 rare crystals is basically completely worthless. 200
Yeah,
epic
there's- I mean-
crystals is basically completely worthless. 150
Well,
legendary.
and we've been
is
under a
okay.
watch, like,
It's only
pretty much for the
okay.
last month.
Bearing in mind, legendaries, you are more likely to get an epic relic than you are to get a legendary. You've got a good chance for a legendary, sure, but it's far from guaranteed. You know, you could easily get.
I'm just
150
kind of at the
legendaries
point
and
that
walk
it's
away
like
with
the
an
little
epic
boy in the
relic,
cried
which
wolf. That's just
in my
all
mind
I've
is
heard
basically
from
useless. The
everybody for the
legendaries are
last
decent.
since the
These
snow
are
went away.
from-
Nothing's
these are the
happened.
Wings of Winter. So sure, like you're most likely getting.
Yeah,
one
I'll
of
be in
these
a
two,
few
which
minutes. I'm about to
forget
get off
about it,
here.
Like who cares? Or these 2 are good, right? But yeah.
All right,
I
I'll be
think it's
in
just the
about 50 or
profit.
20
Like,
minutes.
50 mythical relics, that's good, but it's only
All right,
50.
do I come in the back door?
So there you go. You've potentially pulled
All right,
oodles
sorry.
of eternal soul stones, and you've walked away with half a mythical relic craft. It's just a bit shit. This is just a bit shit. Now the fate chests are good. They might make this somewhat worthwhile, but I really think that the way to look at this event, in my opinion, is okay. 2x on eternal soul stones, that's great. This stuff is a little bonus, but it's a pretty shit bonus. In my opinion, I just think the relic system, if I like, I love giving my criticisms of stuff. I feel like the relic system, I don't really think it needs the rare, epic, legendary, and mythical. Like, it literally could just be legendary, mythical. Most of the rares are complete trash. There's some, like, I think Grim Forest, they did a decent job where it sort of makes sense. Like, there's a little bit of value at each tier. But for the most part, right, they're kind of shitty. And you could just make the good rare relics into legendary relics, make them a bit better. And I don't know, like, I just don't really... I think half of the relics are just complete trash. And pretty much all the rare relics are like, you might put them up to +9, when you're early game, and it helps a little bit. Bit of a stat stick, right? Like, get a bit... This one is a nice stat stick for damage. This one is a nice stat stick for a debuffer. That's cool. There's the odd, like, extremely good. Arachne Elixir is obviously completely busted. Perch Shadow is insane. Right, Arethi Carnet's real good, but, there's very few that are worthwhile. If we look at the event, yeah, again, I don't think either of these are particularly special. I don't think the rares are particularly special. I think Oculus Custodian is decent. I think Thunderbolt is a good resistance relic. It's fine. Not the best, but it's good. I think Thunderbolt Spear is a good damage relic. It's not the best, but it's good. I think the 2 mythicals are excellent. Very strong. But, yeah, they're extremely difficult to get. And really, you've got very little chance out of all of this. Like, you've got half of a chance, basically. So, yeah. Long story short, I think that the decks of fate for guaranteed champions are typically very high value if you max out the whole thing. I think the decks of fate for gear are my favorites because you could just, you know, do flip over 5 cards, get 5 bits of gear. Great, cool. It's a little bit of gear. Grand. You could you know, flip over 30 of the 40 cards. Grand. I got a lot of gear. Grand, cool. Or I could flip the whole thing. Go all out. Get lots and lots and lots of gear. You know, you got options, and you know, just do as much or as little as you want, and every reward along the way is, you know, has a chance to be useful. And I think this is probably my least favorite because it's like, much like the gear one, you can do as much or as little as you want, but unlike the gear one, it's almost entirely complete tat. It's complete fluff. I just feel like all this stuff is rewards to be shiny and pretty and to look like you're getting something when in reality you're getting nothing. So there we go. That's my rant about the relic system. Forget about it. It really the legendary materials are all right, but it's really all about mythical materials, to be honest, because those give you a legendary and a chance at a mythical. So yeah, they're sort of the only ones that matter. Anyway, that's my rant. Let me know what you are going to do. As I said, for me, I am not going to be doing the summon pool. I'll probably get the free summon and get another Bayek. Why not, right? For my free summon. I'll get the free summon, obviously. Definitely worth getting the free one if you can farm Sand Devil. And yeah, but I'm not going to be going anywhere near the Prism event apart from that. I think I will pull all my Eternals, which will 20 Eternals. I should flip the entirety of the deck. And hey, we'll see if we forge something up good. You never know. We're flipping an entire deck, so hopefully we'll get something. We'll see. We'll see. But I don't think either of these are, you know, they're not must-dos, but they're all right. They're all right. And there you go. That's what it's looking like for St. Patrick's Day. It doesn't look like it's going to be guaranteed champion. Therefore, for St. Patrick's Day, I would be expecting a guaranteed.
Yeah,
event.
he's solid.
Though, probably.
I would say Bambus is like a 7.5 out of 10 champion after the buff. He's pretty good. Why did you pull him? Or are you making a new account, or what's up? Oh yeah. Yeah, he's solid. He's not like a crazy champion, but he does bring in Feeble, which is pretty hard to find. You got Bambus, Marius, Androc. There might be one or two more that have the Feeble. I think Naldula or whatever the last fusion has it. But there's only a handful of champions that have Enfeeble. So on that basis alone, he's pretty good. Enfeeble makes it where everybody that attack, like if they're under Enfeeble, they weak hit. And if they weak hit, that means they can't land their debuffs. Well, guys, they're calling for storms and tornadoes and all kinds of shit where I'm at. So I'm going to have to get off of here and get everything ready for work in the morning. I got to go into my actual house. I normally stay out. I got a pretty nice camper that I normally stay in when I'm streaming and stuff. But with this storm coming in, I think I'm going to go into the actual house tonight. So y'all have a good night. Stay safe. And thanks for watching. I will see y'all tomorrow.